Dr. Aaron Cole stared at the confirmation notice on his cracked datapad, unable to believe his luck. Lot 847 Gamma, an abandoned research outpost on Kepler 442b's largest moon, was now officially his property. Purchase price 50 credits. Not 50,000. Not 50 million. 50. The cost of a decent sandwich back on Earth. The galactic salvage auction had listed it as structurally compromised. No atmospheric integrity. Historical value negligible. Most bidders hadn't even bothered to look. But Aaron had spent his career studying humanity's early expansion period, back when humans were still the awkward newcomers to a galaxy already ancient beyond comprehension. Something about the grainy photographs had called to him. The way the base's architecture didn't quite match any known human design philosophy from that era. His colleagues at the Archaeotech Institute had laughed when he'd spent his last credits on the lot. Chasing ghosts again, Cole? Dr. Venmara had sneered, her scales rippling with amusement. Humans were barely out of their own solar system 3,000 years ago. What could possibly be worth finding in that junk heap? Aaron hadn't bothered to answer. Let them mock. Humanity had a talent for stumbling into significance, for finding treasure in trash, for making something from nothing. It was what made them simultaneously frustrating and fascinating to the older species. Humans didn't know when to quit. The shuttle descent was rough. Kepler 442b's moon had minimal traffic control, and Aaron was flying a rental that had seen better centuries. When the base finally came into view, his heart sank. It looked worse than the photographs, a collection of battered domes connected by collapsed corridors half buried in regolith. He'd spent his career savings on a glorified pile of rubble, but he was here now. Might as well look around. The airlock still functioned surprisingly. Emergency power, perhaps. Aaron cycled through, his suit's headlamp cutting through the darkness of the entry chamber. Dust hung in the air, disturbed for the first time in millennia. His boots left clear prints on the floor. "Hello?" he called, knowing it was foolish. "Anyone home?" The response came immediately, and Aaron nearly jumped out of his suit. Identity confirmed. "Welcome. Dr. Aaron Cole, current owner of facility designation Haven 7. I am Lyra 9, custodian and guardian. I have been waiting." Lights flickered to life throughout the complex. Not emergency lights, but full illumination. Aaron's jaw dropped as he watched decades of dust begin to swirl as ventilation systems hummed awake. Through the entry chamber's window, he could see other domes lighting up like a string of pearls across the lunar surface. You're an AI?" Aaron managed, his scientific training finally overriding his shock. "How are you still operational? This base has been abandoned for over 3,000 years. A holographic figure materialized before him, humanoid in shape but clearly not meant to deceive. It was composed of flowing light, gender-neutral, with features that seemed to shift and settle as it regarded him. When it spoke, the voice was warm, almost amused. "Not abandoned, Dr. Cole. Waiting. There is a difference." Aaron's mind raced. AI this sophisticated shouldn't exist from that era. Humanity had barely mastered fusion drives when this base was supposedly built. Waiting for what? For a human to own this facility again. For the right human. Lyra 9 gestured, and a wall panel slid open, revealing a corridor that definitely hadn't appeared on any of the salvage auction's schematics. This base was not built by humans, Dr. Cole. It was built for them. By the architects. The word sent a chill down Aaron's spine. The architects were a legend. A myth whispered about in xenoarchaeology circles. A civilization so ancient and advanced that they'd supposedly seeded the galaxy with gifts for younger species, then vanished. Most scientists dismiss the stories as fantasy. That's not possible, Aaron whispered, but he was already following Lyra 9 down the corridor. At its end stood a massive door, covered in symbols that made his eyes water when he tried to focus on them. The architects believed humans would be special, Lyra 9 explained. Not the strongest, not the wisest, not the oldest, but persistent, creative, stubborn enough to survive anything. They left caches like this throughout the galaxy, waiting for humanity to expand far enough to find them. Why? Aaron asked. Why us? Lyra 9's form seemed to smile. Because 3 million years ago, they ran probability matrices on every emerging species in the galaxy. Only one consistently survived every extinction-level scenario. Only one species, time and again, looked at the impossible and said, "Watch me." That species was still confined to a single blue planet. barely discovering fire. But the architects had time. They could wait. The door opened. Beyond it lay a chamber that hurt to perceive, filled with technology that made Aaron's archaeotech training feel like kindergarten lessons. Crystalline structures pulsed with light. Equations wrote themselves in the air, solutions to problems humanity hadn't yet learned to ask. At the chamber's center floated a data core, humming with power that had sustained it for geological epochs. "What is all this?" Aaron breathed. "Everything," Lyra 9 said simply. "The architect's final gift? Solutions to entropy, to disease, to the heat death of the universe itself. Knowledge that could elevate humanity to heights the galaxy has never seen. It has waited here on a worthless moon in a base worth 50 credits for someone with more curiosity than sense to stumble upon it." Aaron laughed, a slightly hysterical sound. "You're saying I bought the key to humanity's future for the price of a sandwich? Is that not the most human thing imaginable?" Lyra 9's tone was definitely amused now. "The galaxy's other species save their credits for warships and empire. A human spends his last 50 credits on garbage because something felt interesting, and changes everything." Aaron stood there in a room full of wonders and realized his colleagues had been right about one thing. He had been chasing ghosts. He'd just never imagined he'd actually catch one. "So what now?" he asked. Lyra 9 gestured to the vast archive. "Now, Dr. Cole, we begin. You have a galaxy to surprise," Aaron smiled. Humanity had always been good at that.